is your method for constructing the plot? I mean, do you plan it all out before you start?
Oh, I think we probably all work differently. Speaking for myself, I do. I plan everything in a lot of detail. There are some writers who claim, I don't know if they do, that they get an idea and then they sit down, they write the whole book, and they must have it in their heads, and they must be more organised than me. But I plan everything out in great detail, like Mark was suggesting he did. And I need to know that there's an ending and it's going to be good, and I'm not going to get 2/3 of the way through and think, I don't know what happens.
The one time I tried not using a plan was with the Art of Destruction book I did, and it was a nightmare because I suddenly found I suddenly realised I was in danger of going on way, way, way too long, and I had characters in there that weren't really needed, and planning really, really does pay off. I thought maybe I'd give it a different try, because I normally do plan out in great detail, but when I didn't, I won't be doing that again. No, that was interesting.
Some writers do say, I just have the characters and they do it for me.
I think even if often I have a plan, but then you decide once you're halfway in, I'm sure you lot are probably the same, that you actually realise that what you've planned out isn't actually the best way to go, and there may be a different way suggests itself, or you might have a better idea as you go along. Yeah. So even if it gives you something to react against, it's still a really good thing to have. I think.
Again, coming back to the fact that it has to be between a certain, 45 to 50,000 words. It's not a lot to play with. So you can't just sort of sail off and just think, right, I'll see where this is going. You do have to kind of think within that word limit.
I've become very arithmetical. I've got more and more kind of planny and plotty as I've gone on. I used to make it up and just, have a nice time. But I tend to, with this sick building, I had a synopsis, and I divided it into three acts, and then had cliffhangers for each of them. And then each one would be partitioned off into chapters. So you'd have kind of 4 chapters with each of the 3 acts, and then scenes within those chapters. So it became like a kind of, pomegranate.
Is that something you would draw? Would you draw a chart? Or?
Yeah, charts. Yeah. Because then you have, if you have scenes within chapters within acts, some characters will be more to the fore in different chapters. Then you have kind of threads going through them that will overlap, and so you can construct these marvellous diagrams, but you can spend all your time with bits of wool and felt tips drawing things and not writing. So sometimes you just have to put those down. But it's quite good if you can get into that kind of organisational, arithmetical way of working.
That's part of the appeal, is it's another way of putting off the actual writing process for as long as you possibly can. That and the coffee.